Welcome to this Airtable mini course for WeWeb. In this first video, we'll see how to get Airtable data inside WeWeb by using the Airtable plugin. First thing I want to show you is actually the base, the Airtable base I'm going to use. So it's a base composed of several tables. One is property that we'll use in this video. And it's basically an Airbnb-like base with some nice French villas that I have with the names, the regions, which is a related field, prices, surface, many things, and images. I have also other records other columns that we'll use later. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm actually created a WeWeb app where I will want to bring this data inside. First thing is actually click on the plugins, data sources, select Airtable, and add it. Then we need a personal access token so that WeWeb can read the data from Airtable to bring it into the base. So to find it, click on the Find It here, and you'll get to the developer hub of Airtable, and here you can create personal access token. So I will click Create New Token, call it Airtable Mini Course. And here you will need to add scopes, so rights to this token. For WeWeb to work, you will need 3 scopes. So the first is data.records read, to read the data from a database. Then write, to write some, not comments, sorry. Data.record write, so to write records, so data to Airtable from WeWeb. And then schema.basis.read, so that WeWeb can read what your table is like. And then the access, you'll need to get access to the Airtable base you want to use. So here it's Airbnb. Then I create my token. Be sure to copy and paste it because you will see this token only once. Then go back to WeWeb, paste this token, and click Continue. Now we want to create what we call a collection inside WeWeb. So a collection is a set of data that will be usable inside the product. So click Add a Collection. Let's call it Properties. Let's select Airtable as a source and click Continue. Then we'll have to select the Airtable base we want to use. So here, Airbnb. The table is Property. And the view is the grid view, because you can have multiple views inside Airtable that are filtered, and you can bring only a specific view if you want. So here my grid view is basically the view of everything that's inside my property table inside Airtable. Filter fields to fetch, I will keep all the fields because I want to bring everything. And here you can also filter by formula. So a formula is an Airtable formula that you can use to filter your data on the fly. And we've got some nice documentations on this. So here you see filter by formula. So where it's explained by Joyce here how to use the formulas inside WeWeb to do, for example, a search here. So we won't use this in this example, so we'll hit Continue. Then the data is being fetched, so you can see your whole data here with all the records inside each of the, all the columns inside each of the records. So we'll click Continue. And for now, we'll remove the pagination and not set any filters or sorting. We'll see that at the end of the video and automate it dynamic in another video. Then click Done. So that's it. We've got our data here. You can find it in Data, Properties, which is our collection. Now we want to display this data inside WeWeb. So to do this, I will click the Add button, go to Data Display, and then I will select, the grid list here. But first, before this, I even need to add a blank section in my app. So let's drag and drop a section, then go back to Data Display, Grid Lists, drag and drop it here. I will include the variables so that we can play with them. And the only thing I want to do is actually center my content. Okay, nice. Now we'll remove this Load More button, I don't need it. And here I will select the columns. So if I go inside the layouts, you will see the columns, which are bound to a variable now, which are like these fake results. But what I want to do is remove this binding entirely and use my properties collection coming from Airtable. And you see here that the names are already bound because, I mean, they were called names also before inside my my section, but I can bind to anything I want inside my record. So basically what WeWeb does is that it will repeat the first element here, a div, for each children in the collection I bound to. So here it's repeated for every property inside my properties collection. And what I can do is that I can select which columns to display inside WeWeb, for example, as text, or images, and anything you want. So here I will select the name. And for this text here, I will select, I don't know, for example, the price and add euro before, because it's in euro. So I can do stuff like this. So you see here, I've got the price and the name. And for the images, actually, I will need to do some slight trick, because we've got a nice article also on our documentation here. It's that for a few months now, I think maybe years, Airtable stopped serving images or static files from their servers for security issues. So if you use images that you want to display from Airtable to WeWeb, you'll need to actually use a content delivery network called the CDN. And that's what I use in this example using Xano. But you can use, for example, Cloudflare, Amazon Web Services S3, I mean, anything you want. And the thing is, you need some automation to store these CDN URLs, like to get to your files inside Airtable. So for example, if you've got multiple images, in my case here, I can upload them to Airtable, but these URLs will change. So what I have is automation that will upload them to Xano and add their URLs here, joined, separated by commas, but it's actually in long string. And WeWeb can't read strings of multiple URLs, so we'll need a simple formula to split them back and take, for example, the first image. So to do this, I will go back in WeWeb, go on my image, and here in the binding, if you check the images URL, it's actually a long string, as I said, with multiple URLs separated by commas. So it's not readable for WeWeb. So what we can use is actually use the split formula. And this formula takes a chunk of text and then a separator. For the separator, I will say that it's a comma. And now you see here, I get an array, so a list of URLs that I can use. And if I want to take the first element, I will select the one with the index 0, because on computers, counting begins at 0. And you see here now I get a URL, and you can see in WeWeb that I actually get displayed the first image. So now the last thing I can do to show you how filters and sorting works in WeWeb is actually go back to my properties collection. And you see here, I have a sort filter and pagination setting. So if I were, for example, to filter for, I don't know, properties which contains chateau in their name, that would be like this. So I will select the name column, contains, so you can select many comparison parameters that you want. So here it's contained, but you can be starts with, regex, I mean, anything you want. And then I can do 7 tests. And you see now I only have one element because it has chateau in its name. So let's remove it. Here, remove 7 tests. And for sorting, it's kind of the same logic, except you take a column. And for example, if I were to sort by name, ascending or descending. So if it's numbered, it's ascending or descending. If it's like with strings, it takes the first letter and it will do like the alphabetical order. So if I were to do save and test, you see I've got A, B, 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 C. And so it's ordered by their name. So yeah, that's how you can, I will remove it as well, but that's how you can filter and sort in WeWeb. But keep in mind that because Airtable is not a proper backend, like WeWeb still has to load all the data inside the memory. And because WeWeb is a front-end app, this data is accessible from outside users, even if it's not displayed visually in the app. So do not store any secure data in this, because all the filtering and the sorting you see is done on the front end using some JavaScript, but the data is still being loaded fully. So we've got a nice courses on the Academy, Scale Your Web App, that can help on this, like getting wrap your head around what's data loaded in the front end versus in the back end, why some data can be visible but or not visible, but is actually still loaded. So I really encourage you to follow this course. And in the next video, we'll see how to make this filtering and sorting dynamic with a search bar.